Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdeed, ji ayanu, goedemorgen.
Bakhair Agale, Ni Hao, Tuna Shumme, Washmale, Ohio Gonzaimes, Guten Morgen, Ola, Bonjour, Privyet, Kaifahal, Halishuma Chatore, Ahlan Wasalan Marhaba, Buna, Mucho, Gracias, Swabia, Balli And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You watching World this morning alongside the very fantastic Shiza Hashmi and the very amazing Shahzad Hassan Khan on and this, ladies and gentlemen, I think is the second show of 2021 anyways as well.
Absolutely, it is.
So for once again, ladies and gentlemen, for everybody who's out there, we want to wish you a very happy new year.
Yes.
And make sure that you still remember all of your new year resolutions, because a few of the people who
some.
were on my show forgot the resolutions.
Well, okay, I think if you are pointing to some things, yes, I really hope we do stick to the resolutions, because it's always fun to actually, come towards September and October and think, hey, I had some resolutions that I had to work on. Sorry if my voice is breaking early in the morning, but ladies and gentlemen, before we do reach to how the morning has been so far and how Shahzad and I have been doing on the weekends as well, we want to take a moment out and observe a minute of silence actually and say a prayer for the beloved mother of our senior producer Jamshed Saab. She was, of course, a mother for all of us as well. Do you want to take over?
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, as a matter of fact, I think that whenever one of your parents leave or abort on this journey where they're never going to come back, obviously we all know as Muslims that they are in a better place, but that gap cannot be filled, and we definitely at the same time share the grief and the sorrow which his entire family and our producer Mr. Jamshed Sultan Sahab might be going through as well.
Yes.
And we will request each and every one of you to please pray for her soul as well. May her soul rest in peace, and patience for all of those people who've been bereaved as well, and that's very important. And remembering your parents, I think, is something which every child will do, ladies and gentlemen.
Definitely.
And that pain, that grief, we are here to share it with him as well. And since we are team members, even if we weren't team members, I think that it was our social responsibility to make sure that we are there morally for all of those people who surround us, for all of those people who are a part of our team. So may her soul rest in peace.
Ameen.
And patience for the ones bereaved.
Absolutely. And Shahzad, I think it is for all the people who are sometimes, questioning how you can be helpful to persons or people who are actually going through grief. I think you should definitely pray for them to find courage and strength and actually come out stronger of this. Of course, it's a natural process. People have to go through it. You cannot skip it. But I hope that people, or specifically in this case, Jamshed Saab and his family, finds courage.
Exactly.
So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. It is definitely a new year, but things have not changed in terms of the pandemic that we were going through. It's been more than a year that it is here, Shahzad. It keeps mutating, it keeps changing, keeps getting severe, keeps adding a large number of people to the list of people who, well, of course, unfortunately, have been deceased and unfortunately have been contracting the virus for so long. Even, there are cases of recurrence. Some cases, of course, where 3 times people came positive after once they were, notified as positive as well. It does definitely scare you. And the newer version of the virus even reported cases of blindness in the UK. So I really don't want to paint a bleak picture over here, but here's the thing, it is definitely severe. And especially in people of age, I think you definitely should first of all keep them safe, keep them home. And you yourself, please avoid going out, because even if you do go out and then come back and, be satisfied that, oh, my mom didn't go out, you brought the germs. You are the carrier, or you may be, I mean to say. So please be very careful, because now it is definitely a social responsibility if you thought it wasn't before.
Exactly. And thank you very much, Shiza, for letting each and everyone know that, how the situation is on the outside as well. And ladies and gentlemen, just because of this pandemic, there have been a lot of other issues which were connected with it. For example, we should actually be speaking about domestic violence. Not just that, a lot of people have lost their jobs. Even not just that, a lot of people do not have the right amount of food to eat. And it's all because of the fact that there were lockdowns in place. There weren't people who were going out. There were farmers who couldn't go out, who couldn't work, who couldn't invest, because they didn't had a return from the last year's yield because of the pandemic. And food security, ladies and gentlemen, has been one of the most top priorities of all of those governments which are actually focused on making sure that everybody is going to have an economic, physical or social access to edible food which is nutritious at the same time.
Definitely. And thank you actually for leading us here, because this makes a lot of sense and raises a lot of questions as well. Because when we talk about Pakistan, we're able to produce some of the most important staples in the region, of course, in terms of, rice or a lot of things, wheat for that matter, and
cotton.
on a huge amount, right? And even then, first of all, if we link it to poverty, yes, a quarter of our population, or more than a quarter actually, lives below the poverty line. So they do not have access to sustainable food income, right, first of all. And then if we look at food insecurity particularly, the latest stats from a survey were from 2018, which said that around 36.9% population is food insecure. We'll definitely get to what severe or mild, scale they fall into. But Shazad, it was 36.9-ish for the past 2 years.
Exactly.
But for the pandemic, it might have increased double folds,
And
right?
not just that, Shiza, just to complete the preamble, and then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll obviously introduce our very amazing guest who happens to be the food security specialist over here. I think that we need to put our heads to this as well, where we know that, our half or majority of the population is malnourished, or, they have stunted growth issues as well. So imagine that, Pakistan should actually be one of those countries who should really be focusing on food security for all of those people who live or reside within Pakistan in the first place.
And
not just that. Yes, please go on.
Yeah, just adding to the malnutrition part, Shazad, that one, of course, it is a physical condition and does affect your brain as well. But, just that population of malnourished kids is actually costing 3% to the GDP annually.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
And not just that, ladies and gentlemen, imagine that, for all of those people who were malnourished or who really do not get the right amount of nutrition, that's one point, and that's costing us 3% of the GDP almost every year.
Yes.
But not just that, I think there's this one more important aspect, and that aspect actually revolves around climate change as well, because we know that from year to year there's different parts of the weather, different portions of the weather where we actually have to go and get the yield. But since the climate change, Pakistan is more prone to climate change as well. Not that we are the contributors, but we are prone to, because of the fact that there are other countries who are adding a lot to the climate change as well. So there's been land depletion. So for all of those farmers who were actually looking for water as well, or probably those land patterns where they were used to kind of harvest or get the yield from, ladies and gentlemen, it has impacted and it has adverse effects on it as well. So we really need to talk about it, which way are we headed, and then at the same time we have this continuous struggle about moving our economy from agrarian to kind of technological as well. So who's going to grow all of these crops as well? Do you think that we will be in years able to import all the crops? Rather, we have been exporting the best quality crops out of Pakistan, and whatever we are left with, that's what we certainly have no choice. But let's hear it from the specialist himself. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by a food security specialist. He happens to be Mr. Ishad Khanna. Basi Saab, hello sir, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Hi, good morning to both of you, Shiza and Shazad, and I'm pleased that PTV World has invited me.
Thank you.
For this very important issue, which Pakistan especially and most of the underdeveloped world is facing, which is the food insecurity. And especially, you both have rightly pointed out that this is the time where two things struck basically the food insecurity situation. One is pandemic, COVID-19, and second is climate change, which is happening for the last 2 decades. Unfortunately, it's a kind of entering systematically in the system, but the farmers and at the government level, unfortunately, the response is not that much.
Exactly.
So to begin with, I think it is very imperative that you explain to us, of course, and the viewers out there, the concept of food security. And because the normal mind thinks that we are definitely an agrarian society, are we really food insecure? Do we need to talk about it? So let's begin with the concept.
Right. Food security, I mean, it's two connotation. Okay. One is basically the quantity and other is the quality.
Okay.
Basically, and it should be a mix of both quality and quantity. But unfortunately, in this part of the world, we are mostly tilted for the quantity.
Yes.
And that's how there are so many issues which you have rightly pointed out. For example, the concept of the nutritious food, malnutrition, etc. That is happening. So food security is that sufficient food, both in quantity and quality, that a household is taking per day. is basically when we call it that household is food secure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But unfortunately, in Pakistan, if you look into the figures, facts and figures of the FAO and other agencies, 76% of the Pakistanis, they don't have an access to the nutritious food. 18% of the Pakistani households are malnourished.
Yes.
And even most alarming is 18% of the kids, the children, especially the girls, they are basically stunted.
Stunted, yes.
So this is the unfortunate situation, I mean, which is happening because of the malnourishment, and the root cause is basically the food insecurities.
Exactly.
Right. So let's identify the factors that you think lead to food insecurity.
And before we identify, I think that we should rather be discussing all of the challenges we face right now.
Yeah, because of food insecurity, of course.
Well, Shahzad and Shiza, I mean, Pakistan has been blessed with the 4 seasons. We know Pakistan has been blessed with the fertile lands in shape of Punjab, in shape of Sindh. We have unique mountainous regions of KP,
All kinds of dry
Balochistan,
fruits,
GB, and Kashmir, other AJK, and all that, where we can, if resources and if our planning is in the right pattern, we can produce plenty of foods. I mean, and that's supposed to happen in 60s, 70s, and 80s. I mean, where our agriculture growth was surpassing the population growth, right? 5 to 6%.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But for the last 2 decades, unfortunately, it's below than our population growth rate. That is so unfortunate. So there are multi-factors behind those food insecurity challenges, and the foremost is, as I've said, population growth rate. I mean, unprecedented population growth rate. Urbanization is the second.
Okay.
Allocation, PSDP allocation or ADP allocation for the agriculture is 2 to 3%. I mean, I'm not criticizing, but this is a very important fact that unless until we are not enhancing the allocation at least to 8 to 10%, we cannot realize the food security, I mean, dream. I mean, that is
Sir,
important.
I'm sorry that I'm going to pick up on this, and thank you very much that you have very rightly pointed out that the budget allocations are only 2 to 3% as well. I mean, half of the time we do kind of, lose our way in the middle because of the fact that, that the budget might probably be there, but we do not know where to invest or probably what benefits to reap out of it. So do you think that just increasing the budget will actually help, or do you think that the right allocation of the budget at the right places at the right time will help?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a $1 million question. I mean, I would say, yes, right planning. And then the right people.
Yeah.
I think in Pakistan, luckily, we have the very right people in terms of PhDs, scientists, and all that.
Yeah.
But very meager fund allocation, and just those salaries, they're fetching with the salaries. I mean, and no development funds.
But sir, what do you? I'm sorry that I'm cutting you short, but what do you think a PhD can do if there's no research facility?
Yeah, there are research facilities. There are research
For
stations.
agriculture, there are, especially.
There are,
Yes.
there are. But what I'm saying that the development fund is absolutely needing. I mean, look at to the developed countries. I mean, the research is basically the leaders. I mean, in developing varieties, resilient varieties in wake of the climate change, etc. But since unfortunately there are meager funds, and then again private sector. Private sector, basically, there should be a room and space for the private sector. They should collaborate with the government institutions and bring in the fresh innovation into the system.
Exactly.
So that is something which is missing. If we have the right mix of the private sector as well as the public sector institutions, I think if that is happened in 60s, 70s, 80s, why not it's happening in this era?
Exactly, it can, but sir, I think that the problem over here is that, for example, when you, I'm sorry that we have to pose this example, but obviously, ladies and gentlemen, if we need to learn, we really need to
stick to the
learn
truth.
from somebody who's actually done better than us, right? So now imagine that, every year in the West, we see that, for all of those people who are into farming, their yield is increasing every single year. you know, because now their farming systems are so automated that they need lesser manpower, and you know, all of those machines can do pretty much more work from whatever amount of people were doing that work. We haven't moved on from that messy tractor, you know, I don't know what that model is. We do not have newer objects to bring in. We do not have newer agriculture techniques to bring in as well. That's one point which I think we should really be talking about, because that does not have to do anything with the government. That's the farmer, and the farmer needs to innovate. But the farmer over here, I don't think that they have been to school or probably, you know, whatever kind of practices, but they're not innovating as of now, which obviously is resulting into lesser yields every year, because we are not investing into from where we were supposed to earn. Why do you think in the first place that there's been such a lag in between the newer technologies within farming and what we are already doing?
Shahzad, I can give you an example of Turkey, where I was there 3-4 years back. Though they have plenty of rainfalls, I mean, but again they have introduced a trickle irrigation system there. Why they have introduced a trickle irrigation system? Because they knew that water would become a scarce commodity one day. So what they have done as a pilot, they have introduced a trickle irrigation system with a 0 interest rates. And then that replicated like anything. So my point here is that, I mean, again, I'm not criticizing, but the government should set the precedence, right? And then private sector then take it, and then it's then upscale at the largest.
But how important it is to empower our farmer as well.
Absolutely.
Shahzad will get, but you know what, we'll definitely get to that. And I think Shahzad and I have realized over the period of time that we've been doing the shows that farmers have no voice. And people who do want to voice them often do not have the right intentions. They have merely become a prop for election campaigns, and that is a fact.
And the middleman takes everything away.
That is what I was coming to. Now we've talked about food availability. But sir, that is, yes, one issue, but food accessibility is yet another issue. While we do talk about the amazing yields, you know, 1 or probably 5 years later, we do sometimes get. The farmer who is, you know, all day spending his time making that yield does not get to bring quality food to his own home. So what is the issue with accessibility?
I think this is again a very good question. Again, the point is ill planning. Ill planning on part of the farmer. Usually in the developed countries, agriculture planning is linked with the market, demand and supply. So our trend is unique. I mean, when one farmer is going for potato, then millions start growing potatoes. And then there is a rush of potatoes in the market, and there is no demand for that.
We've seen that a lot of it was wasted even last year as well.
Absolutely. Again, something to do with our storage system. Unfortunately, that storage system is again obsolete.
Those cold storages we go to.
The cold storage. Absolutely, absolutely. That is another. So, access is another problem. Especially access to the nutritious food is another problem. Awareness, you have rightly mentioned out. The farming communities, or by and large, the rural communities, they are unaware of what exactly is the nutritious food. For instance, in Africa, I was there. I mean, I remember there was a large campaigns to make aware of the household, especially the women, how to cook a nutritious food. And then once the mother is aware of the nutritious food, then your problems are solved.
Absolutely.
So nutritious food does not mean that it should be a supplement. Yes, there should be supplements for acute malnutrition for small period. But the long-term solution is in your agricultural products. How to grow it, nutritious food, and then how to cook it. That is absolutely important.
And that is very important, and I would love to highlight this very important point over here, because this, once again, ladies and gentlemen, is $1 million point which Ishad Sahab has pinpointed, and it is because of the fact that a lot of research, you know, according to the whatever cuisine we intake over here in Pakistan, you know, curry, for example, you know, because it's rich in oil and, you know, everything else as well. So the researchers says that, you know, while we are overcooking our food, we are taking away all the vitamins and nutrition which we are going to get from it. And even in the West, if you see, even if somebody is supposed to eat avocado or broccoli or whatever vegetables they're eating, they would hardly cook it. You know, they will just take it in raw, because they know the nutritional value of that particular product, which is right. But sir, over here, I think that the most important aspect is that if you're not going to focus on food security, God forbid, what's going to happen is that, that since we have seen it in during these times of pandemic as well, that there's been a lot of pressure on our healthcare system. So now imagine that, if you're not going to look into food security for our people, Pakistanis will eventually get sicker, and there will be more pressure onto our healthcare systems as well, and it will disrupt our socio-economic system. What do you have to say about it?
Well, again, I mean, Chiza has rightly pointed out that again, it affected the mental capabilities, not on the physical health, but the mental capabilities.
Yep.
And ultimately, that person, whether he or she, it cannot be a productive member of a society.
Yep.
And then it could be a loss to overall gross domestic production and overall to the economy of the country. So I think the private sector, the NGO sector, and the government, now they should really start something, even multilaterals, and they are doing it, crash programs for the awareness of the communities, the rural communities, or by and large the urban communities as well. But how to fill that gap? I mean, bringing the nutritious food, giving that awareness, and then bringing them up. I mean, to fill that gap, that is absolutely essential. I mean, otherwise, very soon we will be seeing those ills of food insecurities and malnutrition, etc. That is.
But sir, do you believe, and of course you can disagree definitely, but tax relaxation or easier laws would actually make a great impact on, well, first of all, exports, and then of course the GDP, yes. Because let me just give you an example.
Tax relaxation?
It's
I
probably
don't
the
think
wrong
that's going to happen anytime soon.
No, not in the local. So what I mean to say, it's probably the wrong term I use. Just forgive me for that. What I mean to say is, for the process, if the process of exporting my yield of or my production of mangoes at my small farm was easier, me being a farmer, right? First of all, to understand how to do this, all of it, and then to understand the economics and financial part of it, would that actually, make a huge difference?
Shiza, I can give you another example.
Yes, do that.
And that is a very pertinent example. Gilgit-Baltistan is producing one of the best cherries in the world.
And apples.
So nutritious, so nice. And you know what?
Yeah.
China is importing cherries from the Europe and from other countries and not importing it from Gilgit-Baltistan. And do you know the reason?
Yeah.
The reason is the phytosanitaries regulation of the China.
Oh, okay.
So China is flooding their product to Pakistan because we don't have the phytosanitary regulation, but we cannot export it to China. So very important for Pakistan is that they have their own phytosanitary regulations.
And what would those entail?
For example, that has to do with several things. I mean, the quality, the packing, something to do with the insect pest, etc., etc. And if we are following those phytosanitary regulations, then it's easy for us to export our products. You have rightly pointed out the mangoes, it's happening. Kinnus, those are happening.
So popular.
But there are a lot of products like apples, cherries, and there are lot more others which we can export and really change the socio-economic conditions of the locals up in the north and other mountainous regions.
And I think that this is something which we need to do. We need to be where the rest of the world is. But speaking about phytosanitary, which you actually just spoke about, it is a newer term relatively for us as well.
Yeah.
But there's this one question which I wanted to ask, since we are talking about China as well. So, there are a lot of variations within China. Speaking about fruits and vegetables, they've moved on to another level where majority of it is hybrid as well.
All of it, of
and
course.
And keeping in view that we're talking about food security, where the food really needs to be full of nutrition, right? So imagine that if we are moving on to hybrid versions of fruits and vegetables, do you think that they're still nutritious?
I think it would have extra supplements.
Well, again, there are some controversies attached with the hybrid notion, but technically speaking, there are no such issues. I mean, health-related issues, etc. I mean, and again, there was a myth, khalis. There was a khalis varieties and organic varieties. Fine. I mean, but again, look into the population growth, and the khalis or organic cannot cater those population growth, and ultimately we have to rely on the hybrid varieties.
Exactly.
And point again is coming up, what I have mentioned earlier, that all developing countries, including China, I mean, they're investing so much in research and development, especially of the hybrid varieties.
Exactly.
And we need to focus
We do.
on that. And again, I would say we have wonderful scientists available in
Yes,
Pakistan.
indeed.
They have done wonderful jobs in 60s, green revolution of the
Exactly.
60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, they have done a great job. So we need to motivate them, we need to push them with a bit of a patronization, with a bit of fundings and all that,
True that.
and they can do the miracles.
Right,
Wow.
right. Because even if we look at Germany, they're not the largest producer of honey, but they're the largest exporter of honey. Can you believe that? So I think we definitely need to learn a lot of things and then implement. More than learning, we need to implement and
Yeah.
definitely change some policies over here.
Because this is something which Vaishnav has said, that ladies and gentlemen, you know, we have the right people. All we need to do is probably make sure that we empower them, enable them, give them that inclusive environment where everybody can work together, and then eventually we can do something fruitful for Pakistan
Yes.
and for Pakistanis in terms of food security, because food security, ladies and gentlemen, is also entailed or enlisted by the SDG number 1, 2 and 3 as well. But thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Wonderful to have you, but you still have to say something, please. Go ahead.
Shada, just a last point,
Yes,
that
of
we
course.
have some wonderful example from the development segments of our society. We have the international NGOs, they are doing a marvelous job. Aga Khan Development Network, if I may say, is doing a wonderful job
Yeah.
in terms of production and productivity, especially the small farmers.
Yeah.
I mean, you did mention of the mechanization. Yes, mechanization can be very pertinent in Punjab and Sindh,
Yeah.
but in the mountainous regions, I mean, that can, but they have done a marvelous job there, and those examples can be then taken up and can be upscaled
Shared with
at the
Wonderful.
country level.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you very
Ishad
much.
Khanna Wasi Sahab, sir. It was lovely to see you early in the morning and to have this amazing conversation where you're definitely a prodigy in the subject as well. A good-looking gentleman, ladies and gentlemen, who wants to speak about food security, and that to raising awareness amongst Pakistanis and for Pakistanis as well, which I believe is very important.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. If you've been watching well this morning, you know that every other week we love to have a talent segment. And, well, you're lucky if you're watching right now, because this day, actually today, we're going to have one as well. So, ladies and
That's
gentlemen. Yeah, that's So let's see what Shahzad has to offer after this very small break. Stay tuned. Good morning.
Good morning.
Truck art from Pakistan is renowned to the world for its attraction and unique sense of artistic taste. Pakistani truck art is Pakistan's cultural identity. One look at a truck with artistic work over it, and the first thing which would come to your mind would be Pakistan.
I've been driving truck for the last 5 years. Not only it's my interest and passion, but also is a source of income for my family and I.
We open up the whole body of a truck and piece it down to various parts to get the painting process smoother. Base frame of the truck gets painted first. Then we move on to the rest of the body where we prepare the whole base structure. Once the foundation is all checked, it is sent to the painter, and then after it gets painted, it's further sent to the decoration department. It takes around 2 months to get the procedure completed.
Trucks in Pakistan are decorated with the slogans and pictures all over their bodies from local folklore that gives them a Pakistani look. These slogans are the fortune cookies of Pakistan. After reading them, you have something to ponder over your own life and sometimes about the life around you.
I started working on truck art since 1980s and continued doing it till now. There's a lot of work involved in painting a truck. We start with basic coloring to the blank surface. It takes at least 2 to 4 days on painting a truck. Everything that includes flowery art and bird designs is taken into consideration. We also invest in scenic beauties like Kashmir, Sawat, Khyber, Shahi Mosque Lahore, and anything that comes off beautiful to the general public.
A humorous slogan will redirect the seriousness in your life. A political slogan will make you think of the political landscape in Pakistan. And the poems of Pakistani
Welcome back to World This Morning, ladies and gentlemen, with the very talented and the super energetic Ishad Khanna over here. With me, of course, Shaza Hashmi. So, ladies and gentlemen, well, it's a lovely, beautiful day over here in Islamabad. And Shazad, actually, we forgot to talk about it. Here's the thing. Where you love sunlight and I absolutely hate sunlight, I think today was the perfect combination because on my way here, it was raining with the sun out.
Yeah, it was
so
with the
pretty.
sun out,
And I think I also missed the rainbow. It should have been somewhere.
I think as soon as I crossed F10 and I moved into F8 and, you know, F9, I think it started to get sunny as well, but it wasn't that sunny, which I like as well. But other than that, the weather's superb.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's very cold early in the morning.
Sort
you
of
wake
required
up,
for some amazing music.
Yeah,
as well.
you wake up and, you know, you see everybody else is sleeping and you feel like, you're like, hey, you know, why do I have to wake up? But it's perfectly all right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, because you really need to get up, dress up and show up as well. But today, as we all know, ladies and gentlemen, for all of those viewers who are out there as well, that we want to share this platform for people who think that they have something very extra to offer, for all of those audiences whom we cater as well. So we were very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who's released one of his single before, but he says that he was a kid then, and now he's working on newer music. He's very talented. He can play different instruments, and he can be a source of joy to all of us as well. And in years to come, or in days to come, inshallah, he will be a source of joy to millions and millions of people out there, which is what we wish for him as well. So today, ladies and gentlemen, here we are showcasing Nikmateen Rasool's talent. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Wa alaikum assalam, Shazad.
Absolutely perfect to have you on the show as well.
I'm so happy to be here.
Wow, wonderful. And you look happy as well. How are you?
Thank you.
How have you been?
I'm great. I'm fantastic. It's been a while since I've been here.
Yeah. So how's life? How's everything else? How's music?
Well, fantastic. I've been abroad for about 4 years, and I recently came back.
The accent tells me.
Yeah, that's been a permanent situation, you know.
It's
that.
all right. It's all right.
So were you there for studies or what?
Yeah, I was studying and studying very hard actually at that.
Okay.
I was in Cyprus and
that's
basically I was
interesting.
studying public relations and advertising.
Wow.
Nice.
And I love it. I loved the degree and everything.
So did you put your music to a break while you were there?
Oh no. Actually, as a matter of fact, when I went there, there was a very big culture for
Music.
Performing and music. I performed a lot there. Like,
amazing.
Comparatively to Islamabad, it's very different. There's a very strong culture for musicians and like you know how it is. Like
It's
Street
wonderful and
performers
it's
as
good
well.
to know. But since you were in Cyprus and you know you love to play music, did you actually fall in love with someone in Cyprus as well?
And then play them a song.
Because the body language is kind of telling me that you know he's got something to share from Cyprus. Go ahead.
well,
Yeah.
I would say I fell in love with everyone in Cyprus.
Oh,
Right,
someone
why
in
not?
particular, yeah, someone in particular. That's a straight question. Either it's a yes or a no. Or is it more like that you have somebody over there in Cyprus and someone over in Pakistan as well, and that you do not feel like saying it on television? Don't do that.
Well,
Oh God.
Okay, I think
put
it's
me
going
in
to
a
get a
funny
little
predicament.
difficult. Yeah, for Nikmateen, we do not want.
All right. So I
do
think
that.
my songs would like probably give it away.
all right, we'll wait for that. But since you have mentioned this, that you've been performing a lot there, this does sort of lead me to a question that do you feel like the way audiences receive the talent or the music from young performing or upcoming artists, do you think it's different here and as compared to there?
Well, I would say that music in general here is perceived in a very different manner than it is perceived in any
of the
foreign
world.
country, especially. And I actually feel like it's actually changing a lot.
Okay.
Because since I've
Why
been
don't we
back,
have street performers? I would really love to see like proper
street
ones over
performers.
here. Yes.
Well,
I mean,
there's a
we do have street performers
do,
over here. You
we
know, every
do.
now and then.
not the
Exactly, we do.
beggars, no.
You know, if somebody is
That's the
actually given
thing.
a birth to a baby boy or baby girl, you will see there are people with a dholak outside your house.
No, that's not what I mean.
No,
but yeah.
but see, that's exactly what the problem is, though, right?
Yeah.
There's a very big stigma attached to musicians
Yes.
performing in the street.
Absolutely.
Because, yeah, those musicians, either they're very downtrodden often,
That's
and
true.
it's not really just about showcasing their talent. It's almost like that's the only thing they have left for them to earn.
That's
And that
true.
stems into like further problems, you know.
Well,
I know, it's
I
a
think that,
multi-tiered
okay, you know,
quest.
partially
Exactly.
it is the stigma, but partially the problem is that, you know, in the West, if we say that, you know, there are street performers, the thing is that, you know, there are a lot of directors and producers and talented people who actually run production houses are on the streets as well. You know, so they go over there, they pick up somebody, they find someone very talented for their film or for whatever kind of work they want them to do, they will do it. Over here, you won't find a director roaming around on the streets as well, or a producer, or coming up to you straight away. Because over here, ladies and gentlemen, people have contacts, you know, and that's how they want to work.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you wanted to say something?
Funny enough, actually, in Cyprus, I had a fair share of. Well, I did it just for the experience of it. I busked. It's called busking, right?
Yeah.
And some countries actually have permits for musicians,
Okay.
like from a government-regulated
Yeah,
permit,
yeah, yeah.
for musicians to actually busk.
Right.
Cyprus was not one of them.
Oh,
Okay.
anyone could.
No.
No.
okay.
So how did you do that?
Well, I only did it twice,
All right, well, that's
if you know what I mean, yeah.
So what are you going to share with us today?
All right, but before
Music?
that, I actually
Yeah.
want to know about the instruments first of all.
Yeah,
You
sure.
can play, and then do let us know about the both of these.
Well,
I think if you're going to do a lot of talking, there won't be any time for singing then.
Yeah, that's
you know,
true
we want
as well.
to showcase your talent. Go ahead, Nick Bateen, and then we can ask you all the questions on your Instagram or social media as well.
sure. So, to begin with,
Yeah?
Okay.
since you were curious about, well, I think you'll be able to tell.
I look like a Viking in the TV.
Is it okay?
Yeah, of course.
Do you guys like Alicia Keys?
Yeah, why not?
Of course, damn, the vocals.
Like the keys.
I just want you close, where you can stay forever. You can be sure, that it will only get better. You and me together through the days and nights. And I don't worry, 'cause everything's gonna be alright. No one, no one, no one can get in the way of what I'm feeling. No one, no one, no one can get in the way of what I'm feeling. When the rain is pouring down and my heart is hurting, you will always be around. This I know for certain. People, they keep talking, they can say what they like. I don't worry 'cause everything's gonna be alright. No one, no one, no one get in the way of what I'm feeling. No one, no one, no one get in the way of what I'm feeling for you. For you.
Amazing.
Beautiful,
Man.
yeah,
This was so beautiful.
beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know how to use the right
Other
term.
than beautiful, I think
It was soulful.
the performance was soulful. Yes,
Yeah.
I was exactly about to say that as well. And since we've worked together for so long, I think that we keep on
We know
snatching
what we're
each
gonna
other's
say
words
as well, for real.
or what the other is trying to express. And you know, you just need to give an expression. You're like, okay, yeah, that's what she's saying.
But you know what? This
Wonderful,
actually
yeah.
reminds me of something. So there's a new movie. It's called Soul. I don't know if you guys have watched it. You should watch it, by the way.
Okay.
Oh my God!
Is
I'll
it on
ask you
Netflix?
tomorrow. No,
I think
but
that's
I'll
the
give
first
you.
question I asked.
No, it's not. So there's a moment which explains how, you know, when a singer or anyone actually who says that, oh, I was in the zone. So there's this place which is away from the spiritual and the real physical realm, and whoever goes in the zone is in that space. And that's sort of, you know, you were showing that you were in the zone, and it reminded me
And
of
do
that.
you know what do they actually say that what is that zone?
What?
It is actually exactly parallel to where we are right now. You know, we cannot see it, but it's exactly parallel to where we are
Interesting.
right now. Yeah, and this is what they say. And I think that people might feel it because the way you were singing, the way you were putting your soul into
course.
it, I think everybody could feel it as well. And you know, if you would have actually sang for a little longer, I think that your voice was so soothing
It
that I could have
was.
actually taken a seat. Like, okay, bring me a cup of coffee or tea.
Absolutely amazing.
Well-
But Mateen, you've been performing for, mashallah, so many years now.
Yeah.
So you tell us one of the most exciting, probably a message or a request that your fans made to you.
Well, a request, or do you mean live when I was performing?
DMs probably.
Honestly, let me tell you about this performance. I'm yet to put it up
Sure.
on my Instagram, but basically it was back in Cyprus, and it was really amazing because I was singing an Urdu song,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And we had a Pakistani society there,
Yeah.
right, in my university.
Great.
So we had our own Pakistani society. And I've been performing English music there, like on and off, whatever, right? Like continuously. Just I sing in English constantly whenever I get gigs there. Now, I'm in this foreign country, and I'm singing Adat,
Okay.
right? And the whole crowd, literally, I kid you not, the whole crowd sang it with me.
Oh no way!
Yeah,
Really?
Not even
and they sang it
Wow.
like, and they sang it to the point where they knew the lyrics, they knew the melody, and they were all fantastic singers.
Nice.
All these Pakistanis abroad in Cyprus, and they're just like, it was almost like Pakistan was brought to Cyprus or something.
It
Or
must have been so much fun.
yes, and within that crowd, right, there was foreigners and everyone had their flashes on and everything, and it was quite,
Amazing.
it was quite beautiful to see that because to experience that in a foreign country is just so much more gratifying.
I'm
you know?
sure. I'm
Exactly,
sure.
it is, and you know when you see that you know the same artist, you know, who, or for example, if you were singing Atif Aslam's song, and if they are recognized abroad as well, you know, you have a very comforting feeling, and this is something which I keep on sharing with our viewers as well. That the only two people I saw billboards of in United States of America was Atif Aslam and Rahat Fateh Ali Khan, and all the billboards said was sold out. So, and it was
mashallah.
a proud moment for me
Yes.
to see our people doing so well, which is why we're actually going to request you to sing us one more song, but probably with a ukulele over there as well. And since you keep on mentioning about Cyprus, I can remember one of my friend, every time I call, you know, so the person is like, hey, you know what, I was talking to my friend in Cyprus as well. I hope he's not that friend
What if?
because he just recently got back as well. So first things first, because we won't be left with a lot of time, we want to wrap up the show as well.
Yeah.
What can your fans expect from you in near future? You're working on a single as well.
I literally made a song the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally the other day. And
Wonderful.
I even made a video for it actually. I just made a lyric video for it. It's not too big. You know, I'm not promising something huge.
Yeah.
But you know, within my capacity, within what I can produce currently, I'm not a very technically skilled musician. I'm, you know,
I think we really do
musically
not
skilled.
have to be so picky about whether we are technically on that point or not. I think that if people like it, they like it. Man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly, and that's why I finally decided that I'm just gonna go for it. So
Yeah, that's
I made
wonderful.
something. It's coming out very soon.
Okay.
And where can people follow you and look for all the updates?
My main hub, I would say, is Instagram.
Yeah.
But with this song, I plan to properly release it. So
All right, and
Inshallah,
whenever you
all
want to
platforms.
release it, you know, it's an open offer. You can come over here. We can play the video.
Fantastic.
Everybody can see that whenever you're ready for it. All right.
Fantastic.
And so yeah, let's just wrap it up, and then we'll ask Nick Mateen to actually sing us out.
Right,
And
absolutely.
do you want to say something?
Yes, of course, I do want to say something. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. So how we began with was, of course, to help the people around you find the courage and strength in them to fight all of the battles that they're going through silently even. You know, not a
Exactly.
lot of people like to share what they're going through. So this one is to all of those people who are actually definitely going through something hard. I hope you find the best way to come out of it, first of all, and I hope you're surrounded by the best people to help you with it.
Exactly.
Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any suggestions, actually, if you know of a great talent that would do great in our show as well, do let us know through our social media pages. Facebook with the name of?
Yeah, before I say that.
Oh, sorry,
I
you
just
have something to say?
I just have a big news to give away, and that
Okay.
is that tomorrow, inshallah, ladies and gentlemen, we are trying to get our hands onto Dhool Band as well. They've got a new release coming up on
I
the
love
16th
them.
of January. So they will be joining us tomorrow. Please make sure to, you tune in. That's pretty much what we want. So yeah, please go ahead.
Right, so you can write to us to let us know your feedback on our Facebook with the name of,
Well, this morning on your television screens.
on Twitter,
Well, this morning without G.
YouTube,
Well, this morning.
yeah, and the repeat of this show you can
5 past
catch.
midnight, ladies and gentlemen. Till the next time, look after yourself. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning. Take
Over
care,
to you,
stay
bro.
safe.
do sing it with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well,
she
we'll
can
try.
sing very well.
Okay.
No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. Said I remember when we used to sit in the government yard in Trenchtown, observing the hypocrites mingle with the good people we meet. Good friends we have, good friends we lost along the way. In this great future, you can't forget your past. So dry your tears, I say. We say, no woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. Hey, little darling, don't shed no tears.